Hi there, Smart Driver. Talking to you about left-hand turns. If you're going to get into trouble when you're learning how to drive, left-hand turns is generally the place that new drivers are going to have a crash. We're going to give you tips and strategies, skills to reduce your chances of being involved in a crash on a left-hand turn. The reason that these are dangerous is owing to T-bone crashes. Left-hand turns, you're crossing the oncoming traffic on the other side of the intersection, and sometimes there is confusion about the light system. Sometimes it is integrated into the existing traffic light, and sometimes it is a different separate light stand with a different traffic light on it. If it is a different separate light that is controlling the left-hand turning traffic, it will have a sign on it that says for left turn traffic only. Be conscious of that and be aware of that. Now, the other part of left-hand turns at busy, complex intersections with left-hand turns is that some people are confused because there will be a flashing green light, an advanced green light, which gives priority to the left turning traffic. That will end, and then the intersection. But some drivers are confused by this, and then they proceed to make a left-hand turn without giving way to the oncoming traffic that now has priority after the advanced green has stopped. And traffic engineers are trying to sort out this problem to reduce the number of crashes made during left-hand turns. Information to check out, look at the left-hand turn video. We give you step-by-step instructions to be successful in passing your driver's test and executing left-hand turns, not only safely, but also to help you to pass your driver's test. Have a look at the podcast available over at the Smart Drive Test website or other platforms where podcasts are delivered, and pass your driver's test first time. Tips and strategies and skills and abilities that you need to be successful on passing your driver's test first time. Why are left-hand turns dangerous? Because you are crossing the oncoming lines of traffic. There's no protection in the vehicle, and many new drivers, inexperienced drivers, misjudge the gap. There are three things when you're learning how to drive. Start in a quiet area. Get comfortable with the steering wheel. If you are not comfortable with the steering wheel, with the accelerator, with the brake, you should not be on the roadway. You should be in a parking lot learning how to master those primary controls in the vehicle, the steering wheel, the brake, and the accelerator, and figuring out how to turn the vehicle. If you were asking me and other people on social media how much to turn the steering wheel when going around a corner, you should not be in a busy part of the city. You should be in a parking lot, in a quiet area, in the residential areas and those types of things, learning how much to turn the steering wheel going around corners and those types of things. Do that, get comfortable with the vehicle, master the vehicle in a parking lot. That way you can just focus on the car. You don't have to focus on everything else that is going on, especially when doing left-hand turns. So do that in a parking lot and get comfortable with it so that you can just focus on maneuvering the vehicle without a lot of distractions with other traffic and road users and people crossing the street and those types of things. Shoulder check. You need to shoulder check left, and smart drivers over the years have come back and said, well, there's a concrete barrier there. Why am I shoulder checking? You're shoulder checking to create the habit of ABS. Always be scanning. People get complacent after they get their driver's license. The first skill that they lose is shoulder checking. They say, well, I just drove past there. Why do I need to look? Because traffic is always changing. It is dynamic. You need to be checking, double checking. It's like being a carpenter. Measure twice, cut once. It's the same thing with a car, except the consequences are a lot more dire. Not a lot more dire, but as a carpenter, you may cut off a finger if you're not using the power tools correctly. In a car, you could have a crash, right? You could run over somebody. You could hurt them. You could potentially kill them in a car, right? Look twice, go once. Shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. ABS, always be scanning. Every time you change directions of the vehicle, we know as driving experts that the average driver crashes once every 15 years. Unfortunately, this lulls many drivers into the false sense of what I'm doing is okay because I haven't had a crash in 10 years. Yeah, well, you haven't, but eventually, maybe all of the circumstances will come together that at year 12, you will have a crash. So create the habit of shoulder checking so that in 8, 10, 12 years, it will save you, it will protect you and keep you safe in your vehicles and prevent you being involved in a crash. Anytime that you're turning the steering wheel, you should be shoulder checking. It is critical to your safe driving, especially on left-hand turns. My teaching for left-hand turns: front steer tire on the front crosswalk. That is your landmark to be at the edge of the intersection. You're waiting there, you're checking three things. You're watching the traffic light, you're watching the oncoming traffic to make sure that there is a gap or it's going to come to a stop if you're going to proceed on the yellow light, and you're watching the pedestrians and vulnerable road users on the cross street because they have the right of way. Waiting at the edge of the intersection, you are committed to the intersection, but you're not in the intersection if something goes wrong. If you're sitting in the intersection, you're waiting to turn left and something goes wrong, you're in it. You don't want to be in it, okay? Stay out of the intersection until you can absolutely move through and clear. The other piece about this, if you get into the intersection and the light turns red, you have to clear the intersection. You own the intersection. You have to clear it as expediently as possible. And if you watch the old left-hand turn video, there is a pickup truck that I followed through that had to wait for the transport truck to come through the intersection before the driver could complete the left-hand turn on the red light. Going on yellow, going on red. Sometimes traffic will be so busy that you have to go on the red because whatever happened, you got distracted, you were watching the pedestrians on the cross street, you were watching the oncoming traffic, and all of a sudden it went from yellow to red. You have to clear the intersection. You have to move in and expediently clear the intersection to get out of the intersection. That's what you need to do. Watch turning vehicles and pedestrians on multi-lane roads. If you're on a big intersection, oftentimes there will be a right slip lane on the other side of the intersection. So in addition to watching the traffic light, watching the oncoming traffic, and watching the pedestrians on the cross street, you also have to watch the right turning vehicles on the far side of the intersection so that you don't turn in beside them, because you don't want to go in like this. You want to either go in front of that vehicle or go in behind it. That's going to be an advanced safety strategy for you. Never merge in beside another vehicle. Always merge in behind or in front of them to prevent being involved in a collision, because more than half of vehicles, when making right turns or left turns on a multi-lane intersection, will make the turn and then they'll drift over. They'll do the turn and a lane change at the same time. You don't want to be making lane changes at the same time that you're doing a turn. It increases your risk of being involved in a crash. To make yourself safer and keep yourself safe at intersections, you want to do things sequentially. You want to move through the intersection and then do your lane change. You want to do your turn, get the vehicle straight, point it in the direction you want it to go, and then make your lane change. That will reduce your chances of being involved in a crash. The number of crashes as an expert witness that I investigate where somebody has moved through an intersection and they're changing lanes at the same time, this results in crashes, and it exponentially increases your risk of being involved in a crash. So do things one thing at a time. Moving through the intersection, then change lanes. Make your turn on left-hand turns with yellow lights. Double, triple, quadruple check that the oncoming traffic is in fact coming to a stop before you commit to making that left-hand turn and clearing the intersection. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer.